Yeah.
We'll
Okay,
talk.
you're live.
Morning, Kelly Sue with Cleopatra Art Studios. Sydney's going to join me for a minute because we are getting started a minute or two early, and I know some of you guys are still getting your coffee, plopping your kids down, grabbing your paints, and it's a little bit different for me because we are at my mom and dad's house in Missoula, Montana. Do I need to be louder? Okay. In Missoula, Montana, and so definitely socially distancing here because the next house is over there and over there. So come on over and say hi. Good morning, Sydney.
Michelle says good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited you're all joining us. We're totally doing guerrilla style painting today because I forgot, true to form, I forgot easels, and that's about it. Did I do okay other than that?
I think you got everything.
Yeah, because for packing, I'm like, not only what do I need, and my kids are old enough I don't have to worry about what they need. If they forget their underwear, then they forget their underwear. But I have to like get my work stuff together too, and I totally forgot easels. But that's okay. We're gonna do the bucket, the old this one's Ace Hardware bucket, but those buckets are good for everything, right?
I guess.
Yeah, and she sent me out. I'm really happy with what she did. But let's talk about the paints you need today. We are painting, I just called it the Magic Garden. And I wish you guys could see this live because the gems and the sequin, like confetti glitter, is really beautiful. Can you see okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of course, that's optional too. If you're like, that's a hot mess, Kelly Sue, and I get that you love it, but I don't, that's fine too. Remember, it's all about making you happy. If you're just joining us for the first time, I probably would recommend that you follow along pretty closely. If you've done this a couple times or you're very comfortable in your abilities, knock it out of the ballpark. Go for it. You know, you can teach next class too. I just want you to share your paintings with us so we could share them with the world. Paint colors you're going to need today? What you need?
I was just gonna give you some comments.
Oh, sure.
Hi, says Effie and Eddie.
Oh, guys, I'm so excited. Your mom said that you guys bought an art kit and that your mom said you were going to join us.
And
I
then
love those two.
Stephanie says it's beautiful there.
It is beautiful. So we got here at 1:15 in the morning, their time. Remember, we're from outside of Seattle. And my mom tiptoes in and says, hey, let's go for a hike, a 4 or 5 mile hike way up the mountains at 7:15. So we made it.
Heck yeah, we did.
We didn't make it all the way to the end, but we did well over 4 miles. And
I'd say it's about 4.
And I was like, I know my friends wouldn't care if I showed up with a baseball hat, but I actually got a shower in. Happy to know. Okay, your paint colors today. White, of course, we're gonna use white. I'm using a really dark blue. Mine is phthalo blue. And so it's that real see-through-y color. This is magenta, which is kind of a bluish pink. If you didn't have that, you could skip it, or you could go with the red and white. I have teal in this one. It seems like we have teal in a lot of paintings, huh? But teal's really popular this year. If you didn't have teal, but you had light blue and yellow, and white, you could make your own teal, or you could just skip teal. You could go with a, you know, like a phthalo green, a really light phthalo green, which if you mix it with white makes them like mint chocolate chip color. I have hooker green. Those of you that know me know I didn't name it. So it's basically a really good solid like brownish Christmassy green. And then I have a dark brown that I made by adding black to a lighter brown I had. So it's more along the lines of burnt umber, but it doesn't have that gray tone to it that burnt umber has. I also have optional colors, or optional stuff was 3D fabric paint. And if you bought an art kit from me, I told you that there's just no way that I could supply these, but if you want them, you can just order them online, or you could use just paint, and that would be completely fine. And I also am using, oh, here I got chalk. So I'm using from Michaels this confetti glitter. It's really pretty. It's really large. Looks like if you took a hole punch and punched these out And also the beads that you would get from, I'm pretty sure it's from Walmart. It's called Bucket of Bling, and it really is a bucket of bling. And I didn't use the stars or the shapes that come with it. I just used round ones. Again, optional. So this is called Mixed Media. Oh, the lid's on the bottom, right? I couldn't find the lid. It's on the bottom. Wait, where's the lid? It probably blew away. Already. It's gone, guys. It's gone. Oh, it's on top. Drama much? Okay. This is called Mixed Media. Mixed Media, okay, those art terms that are big and they don't need to be, is I use more than just one thing. I use more than paint. So I use the paint, the sequins, the gems, the puffy paint on here to make mixed media. So if you don't have some of these things, I challenge you to kind of look around and see, you know, what could you use?
A bottle cap.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, buttons would be beautiful. Those sequins, you know, that you have, sequins and buttons. Oh, that would be beautiful. So I'm really curious to see what you guys end up with. And this painting involved, I did the flowers and I did the garden underneath, and I just felt like we need something else. And so that's where all the bling happened. And I kind of like the bling, and which is funny because I don't, oh bless you honey.
Thank you.
Her sunglasses fell almost all the way off. I don't really wear jewelry or anything, but in painting, I think bling's really cool. Okay, so.
You even have your wedding ring tattooed on you.
I do, you know, I do have my wedding ring tattooed on me. It doesn't mean that my husband was a cheapskate and he didn't get me a ring 26 years ago. He did. It's just, after I got the tattoo for our 20th wedding anniversary, I just put the ring in the safe and I just haven't.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Holy
I just,
crap.
well, we were late. I think it was more like 21. I just haven't got it out. There's no need. Everyone knows I'm totally committed. Okay. Paintbrushes you're going to need today. And the painting's not hard. There's just some detail work that's going to take a while. We're going to use a chip
You're
brush.
done.
Is this the best chip brush I have? This one looks like I did go crazy on it.
I'm not sure. I just kind of grabbed.
Okay, it's fine. So you just want something with some texture. If you didn't have a chip brush, you could use a sponge easily. And you could go cut your kitchen sponge. Or like a Brillo pad, not one that's been used. Or even a crumbled out piece of tin foil or saran wrap. That would look really good too. 3/4 flat. It's just a really soft flat paintbrush, guys. Mine's 3/4 of an inch and flat on top. I'm using Baby Round, which is a really small paintbrush, and Filbert, which has just a little bit of a curve to it. And I don't use the paintbrushes a lot today. Hold on a second. So do I have any other questions before we get going? Ta-da.
Nope.
How are we doing? 10:05? I think we're doing good. There are a lot of people interested in this painting today, so which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, 35 people watching.
35 watching for now. Remember, a lot of people are joining us later, meaning they're going to watch the video later. Remember, if you have something happen and you get behind, don't worry. As soon as Sydney hits save at the end, it's gets saved into the archives of Cleopatra Facebook forever. Actually,
Or unless you get hacked or shut
yeah.
down or something.
way to be a Debbie Downer.
Oh, and Andrew says, hello, peep.
Oh my gosh, we were so excited. We were just talking about your family on the way over last night. How?
And Elena is on.
Oh, hi.
Oh, wait, that's who you're talking about?
Yeah, Owen can do the splits and he's got the big smiley face. That's who we were talking about.
How
Because
cute.
Sabrina was a student in your dad's class last year and she really liked him. Okay.
Interesting.
All right, so here we go. You're gonna need a little bit of water. If you're setting your kids up so you can get some work done, have a second cup ready so that when they're ready to switch out water, you don't have to stop what you're doing. We're gonna prep our canvas for painting, and if you're outside, your paint is gonna dry a little faster. Can you guys hear the cock-a-doodle-doo? Man, I just heard that. Okay, so we're gonna grab our chip brush, get it a little wet, scrape off some of the water, and paint our canvas with water. Some of you said, hey, how come we don't do the journaling step? Well, I guess I just assumed if you liked to do the journaling step, you probably are already have it done. Some people go to bed with their canvas and they write. Why? Because it's the perfect journal. Because if you're using a really soft pencil, you could you cover it up, right? Nobody knows what's under there. You know, I lost my best puppy this week. It was a turd-delicious day. And so I could have written about that and then not worry about anybody seeing my words, what I was feeling. I wasn't feeling that great, but she had a good life. Okay, here we go. So we are going to use 3/4 flat. Can they hear me okay?
So far,
We're
people
shooting
are saying
outside
good.
instead of inside. Okay, so if you just started painting with your paintbrush like that, it's going to stain your bristles. The paint's not going to move very well. So remember, you need to wash your paintbrush. Maybe get in there and maybe your bristles are stiff. You can still work with stiff bristles. You just got to soften them up.
Amanda says she's so sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. It was hard. Gosh, that was hard. So we're gonna get rid of the extra water. Long squeezy strokes. Anytime you clean out your paintbrush, you don't want to do circles unless you have one special paintbrush, because you want to train the hairs to kind of stay together and not be like, you know what I mean. I don't need to demonstrate for you. You guys totally get it. You're smart. If it's your first time, don't be scared. This is just paint. It's truly just paint. And if we make a mistake and it adds value, hey, we'll keep it. It will be one of those happy mistakes. Bob, they don't happen that much. Some of those mistakes are like, what happened here? And if that's the case, we can either cover it up and turn it into something else, or we could paint over it. It's just paint. If you painted a wall, you're gonna be fine with this. So the way I did this is I took white, fully loaded my paintbrush. So what I mean by that is I don't come in like, ding, I'm ready to go. Meet me halfway, guys. So I'm going to come in here and at a 45-degree angle, I'm going to plop and turn my paintbrush over and plop again. And my goal is to draw a line about halfway and quickly paint the bottom half with white pretty generously. Why? Why am I going to do white? Because when I add the colors, it's going to make it
Later.
dreamy and lighter. It's going to be a dreamy garden, guys. If you don't like it lighter, don't do lighter. So I do want to point out one of the challenges of going too light would be not being able to see your wish, we call them wish flowers. The little things that float.
The weeds, the noxious weeds.
No, the ones here are noxious weeds. If you go too light, they're not going to show. So I felt like I was right there on the border, and maybe I wanted to go a little bit darker. So I painted the bottom half white. You can even go around the corners if you want. It's really important to move before that dries to do the next step. So I got most of the paint out of my paintbrush. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start with, which one am I going to start with? Let's start with pink. And the bottom portion, I'm just going to do pink. The white's going to make it a lot dreamier. If it's too dark, simply add some white to your paintbrush. A perfect time to show you guys what's going on. Do you guys see what's happening here? So the paint underneath is already dry, so that there's not enough moisture on my paintbrush. So I'm going to take my paintbrush, just the corner of it, dip it in a little water, just the corner. I didn't baptize this puppy. I just gave it a little bit of love. And then come in with your paint, and it's going to cover perfectly. So it's all about fluidity.
Owen says it's Ivy, the regular, almost.
We're gonna go around the side. Take it around town, people. Unless you have a frame for this puppy or you're willing to paint it black, you want to put some love around the sides so it's not just a rigid stop on your painting, that your world goes all the way around the sides. Okay. Now, before your white dries, if you feel like you needed to, you could clean your paintbrush out in water, but I'm trying to kind of clean it on the canvas. I'm going to go into white, so I hardly have any pink because the pink and the teal don't always play well together. So I'm going to grab some white and grab some teal, or whatever color you chose for your middle. maybe you're not like, oh, I hate pink. Then don't use pink. I hate purple. Well, don't use purple. So I'm gonna come in here and just paint upwards, going a little darker as I go up, just a little bit. If you need more white, if you're painting outside like moi, if you need a little bit more white, grab a little bit more white. But what I want to show you is what not to do. The stress marks. Okay, well that just looks like texture. So do you guys see these stress marks? Sydney, is it evident? She's on her phone.
Kinda.
Okay, let me get a little closer. Can you see them now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's from not going all the way across and back. I started kind of in the middle. Those don't go away. That's texture that's forever on your canvas. So you want to kind of blend them in. So, and the way you do that is full strokes before they dry. This paint is water soluble up until the moment it dries, and at that point, it's not anymore. We'd have to go over it. So anytime you pick up more paint, I pick up a little bit of white and a little bit of the teal. I'm not a fan of this hard stop down here, so I'm just gonna come down and blend that in a little. Maybe just pick up some white and blend that in. Oh, I love that so much more. I'm gonna pick on Sydney. Right, Sydney? She's on her phone.
I think it looks fantastic.
It's fantastic. Okay, now my goal is I want to get a little bit darker because
They're Disney colors.
yay! We're Disney fans. We're missing them so much. Okay, take a breath. We only went so fast because our white was starting to dry. Yes, Sydney wants to take this moment and show you her arm.
Oh, do I? I was showing you how it matched my tent.
So Sydney loves Disney so much. Do you want to show?
I can show.
Okay, that way you can, she just went and did something, and it's beautiful, and man, these are true artists. You want to say who you used?
Yeah, I used Aaron.
Plug him a little bit.
Aaron from Skin and Soul.
Skin and Soul up in Bellevue.
Bellevue.
And she said he was quick, he didn't charge too much, he was
He's very good at what he does.
very good. He free-handed a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
He's so talented.
we love to pass on business if we can anywhere. Speaking of which, Sydney got her promotion. She'll be managing her store soon, which we're not going to tell you where it is because of a little stalker action. And if you want to know, just reach out to me. I'll tell you if you want. But she's going to be closer. We'll just say that. Okay, so ready to go up. We're going to go a little bit darker because the stratosphere really grounds the sky. So I'm shedding. Hold on, guys. Okay, I'm going to come in with just teal. Maybe I need a little bit more water on my paintbrush, just the corner. You can kind of tell if it's not moving, it's not playing nice. You got to do that. Okay. Get your paintbrush fully ready. We're Bob Rossing it up. Okay, we're going to try, I'm going to start a little bit ahead, a little bit above, I should say, of where I finished. And that way I can grab a little white and just blend it in wherever I finished. So if you are just squeezing your paint out of, I don't know if I brought one, out of the tubes, I did bring one. These are meant to be thinned a little bit with water. Very rarely do we use them straight out of the tube unless we're looking for some heavier textury action. So make sure you thin it a little bit. Or if you're outside painting like me and it's almost 80 and it's the dry heat, a lot. So we're just moving towards the top. Remember, if you don't like teal, maybe you picked a different color, maybe you took the pink all the way up. It's just important that it's just a little bit darker so that we can see the fronds of the plant. Oop, got too dark there. That's okay, it's just paint. I'm just gonna go into some white. And I toned it down. I like the action. If you want your super smooth, go ahead and keep blending. If you like the little chunks of wispy white, you just put the white in there, move it once or twice, and you're good to go. Okay, as I get to the top, I'm ready to transition into my darker color.
What's the question of the day?
Oh, what is, you know how you make wishes with these puff flowers? What would be the wish you would make?
They can't tell you that. They won't
Oh,
come true.
nuts. That's a terrible, terrible question of the day. All right. Let me think about it. That's a terrible question of the day. What
What's
was
your-
I thinking?
What's your favorite flower? What does your family call these? What?
Yeah, what's your favorite flower? I don't know that we've done that yet. What's mine?
You like daisies?
I love daisies. I
You
love
like
daisies.
Gerber daisies?
I like Gerber daisies too.
What's mine?
Sydney likes two. She likes tulips and sunflowers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're ready to go darker. Now, obviously, let me show you really quick. I'm not going to go straight blue because it's really rigid. Here we have this cotton candy color at the bottom. It's kind of dreamy. It's delicious. Obviously, somebody hiked 4 to 5 miles and just only had coffee because I'm really hungry.
Someone said no more COVID.
I was thinking about that too. Okay, obviously that's too dark. So if you have a really dark blue, you're going to pick up a little white as well. If you have a lighter blue, just go in with that. Maybe you have a cerulean or a lighter blue. I just went in with white and the dark blue I had. I'm having trouble getting coverage today. I know what that means. I need a little bit of water. And it's all because we're painting outside. A lot of moms have me over to their house and we paint with their girlfriends and some wine's flowing. Well, we have to add just a lot more water. Okay, work it down into the green a little bit so that it's a transition. This one I did I cleaned my paintbrush out when I barely had any of that dark blue down here, so you had a little bit more dark blue showing. It'll be more noticeable when I go up. So when I finish, I want to finish with some dark blue. Just a little bit. That's too much. I'm gonna come in here with the white.
Likes, or Eddie, or Edie, or Eddie.
Edie.
Edie likes gladiolas.
Glads, those are the tall ones.
Oh.
They're so pretty.
And Effie likes daffodils.
The only reason I stopped buying Glads was because I couldn't figure out how to put them in a vase in the house and make it look cool. Coolio. I did not get that gene. My older friend had a flower shop, and she was really busy for Valentine's Day, and my kids were really young, and she was like, oh, why don't you come in and we'll see how you do, you know, putting your flowers together. And I think after about a half an hour, she was like, okay, we're gonna have you dust and maybe greet people instead of arranging anything. Did not get that gene. Okay, remember to do your top, your sides, play with it a little bit more if you feel like you need to. But remember, guys, this paint has that glue polymer. If you play too much while it's drying, you're gonna give it a bald spot. What do I mean by that? Well, let's see. So you kind of, where I touched it, kind of gave it a bald spot right there. They're kind of hard to fix. I'm going to come down here and transfer some of that blue, just a little bit. Put in some wispies. Remember, I don't want to be too light, but I felt like I needed to transition a little bit more. So I'm having a little trouble because it's so dry with that streaky look we talked about. A good way to fix that is I'm simply going to take my paintbrush into the water a little bit more than halfway, and I'm going to make myself a big pile of, oops, obviously blue. I'm making myself a big pile of blue. I'm going to clean my paintbrush. Okay, I'm making myself a big pile of the green, and it's pretty wet. It's pretty wet, guys. So it's more like a stain. And I'm just gonna come in here and just, it covers it right up. You don't want it so wet that it's dripping, which I might be a little bit right there. So I'm gonna hold it flat. Because if water drips down your painting and it's not dry, it picks up paint the whole way. And those bald spots are super hard to get rid of. It's a balance. It's a balancing act. A little bit more. So you could play with this for hours, and if that's your MO, if you're like, I'm a control freak, I gotta play a little bit more, go for it. Just keep playing with the background. You'll either get caught up, or at the end, you'll just watch and eat your bonbons, and then you'll join us at the end by watching it again. Okay, so perfect example of this painting's not finished on the sides. So I could come back later with black, or I could just try to fix it now. And it's kind of up to you as the painter in charge. I don't make kids do that, or adults, especially if they had more wine than me. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my paintbrush. Remember, you're gonna do circles. You're gonna be after it. You're not gonna be a pretty little princess cleaning your paintbrush. You're really gonna go after it, guys. And when you're done, it's not completely clean. See on the towel? Long squeezy strokes. It's the friction of the paintbrush bristles on the towel that does all the work for us. Remember, it's not watercolor, so our paint water can be quite dirty and it still work for us. If it's bothering you, clean your paint bucket or brush bucket right now. I think I could go a little bit further, and I'm going to take a minute. We're going to blow dry the background. Cindy, do you have anything to entertain them with? Oh, you could maybe just show them the hills real quick while I do this. It won't take me long. You can walk them to the end there. Might take a little bit longer than mine. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. My mom got this really good coffee. The great thing about Missoula, they get really good at organic everything. They have really high priorities here. A lot of it has to do with the college in town. It's a great college. And people have always been very, very conscious of buying free range, organic, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. I just enjoy it a lot. Antibiotic-free coffee.
Non-GMO.
What's antibiotic-free coffee? I don't know what it is.
No human growth hormones.
But it's delicious. I didn't know they were injecting the coffee beans with biotics, but
there's a lot of things.
There's some sick coffee out there. This one's delicious. I couldn't believe it. It didn't hurt my stomach at all. So I might have to buy some of that. Okay, so we have our background. It's mostly dry. Sorry, guys. You really want to get it dry. You're gonna do that. Always gonna do that. I'm a dork. I know. Okay, so if you have chalk, you can kind of plan where your flowers are going to be. And I know I always say law of odd numbers, and I know the rules so you know when to break them. So what do I mean by law of odd numbers? Said
your eye gets pleasure from seeing things in odd numbers.
Yeah, they do.
3, 5, 7, 9.
So does your brain care after 9?
I don't think so.
No, after 9 your brain doesn't care anymore. Like, I've got 27. Woo, I love it. No. So in bundles, that's why if you think about landscape
Reconnect. Okay, we're back.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys. The one thing about Missoula is the internet's not as good as in Seattle. So
we're in the, what do they call it? The
sticks? Boonies? So
honky tonk town.
We're not in a honky tonk. Okay, it used to be when I was here. Yeah, you could wear your cowboy boots and fit right in.
I almost brought my cowgirl hat, then I realized I'd have to leave it here.
If you want, you can chalk this in first. We could have brought it back. Okay, so I wanted a tall one and a shorter one. If you want 3, go for it. Remember, the stem doesn't go all the way up, meaning I'm still gonna put like a softball size top on here, or a baseball size top on here. So
We can't see that chalk at all.
okay, you can't see the chalk at all. So I'm going to go a little higher than where the stem is. But what you don't want to do is take your stem all the way up and then go, okay, here's my bellflower. Now you can make a really big one. You can do a half of a really big one. You can make a ginormous one, but the process to put the flower together is a little tedious, so you will probably lose you, and that's fine, completely fine. You can continue watching when you're ready. Okay, so all I'm gonna do, actually, we're gonna actually, before we put the green in, I'm sorry, we're going to texturize the first step in the garden. Okay, so just plan where you want those stems. Sorry, first time teaching this. So you're gonna take whatever your tool is for texture. Remember, don't stress if you don't have this incredibly amazing tool called the 1-inch chip brush, but we all call it Big Ugly. You're just looking for something that's dry and has texture. If you wanted,
Hold on, don't move back over. There's something floating right next to you. Right, look, right there. The yellow.
oh, it's like one of those worms. Go. Okay, they are a problem here. You can just use that stenciling brush from last week. A little ball of tinfoil works great, or saran wrap. It works really great, or even a paper towel rolled up. It works great too. So we're going to use our colors, pink and dark blue, to put in our baby leaves, baby colors in the background. And remember, as artists, we don't paint every leaf on the bush. We put in different layers. We put the baby layers, the medium layers, and then the big ones up front, which your brain makes the connection. There's a flower up front. I recognize that flower, so therefore those things in the background, they're leaves and flowers too. So, and it goes really quickly. A couple things to do is we're kind of dry brushing this on there. What do I mean by dry brushing? Well, you're not going to scoop up a bunch of paint. You're going to load your paintbrush gently and then kind of bounce off the extra. So I'm going to start, I'm going to start pink. We're going to go light to dark. So here I go. Ready? Okay. That's too much paint, guys. So what I'm going to do is bounce on a paper towel. You can kind of see it's going to give you texture, or you could bounce on your edge. And we're just going to come in here and start bouncing. And I do bounce kind of in this U or swing shape.
So more on the sides and less in the middle?
Yes, so I don't have as much in the middle. And I'm going to go light to dark because it's after you go dark, it's kind of hard to cover it up, I believe. So if you need more paint, grab more paint, but bounce off any extra you might have, because otherwise it gets kind of heavy. Go around the corners, or else, let me show you why. Or else you have this look that, oh, you didn't quite go up to the edge. Okay. Another thing is, if I did them all the same, there's not a lot of difference in texture, so it's not as interesting to the eye. So kind of turn your brush, or turn your paper towel, or turn whatever you're using to put this texture in. And it's just texture, right? Bounce, 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 bounce. And it's incredibly gratifying, and it's a pretty quick process. I like where things stick up a little bit, so it looks kind of like spires or glads. We can talk about what other kind of painting they'd like to have coming up. I'm going to go a little higher in the middle. I feel like I'm really low there. I might need more. True fashion, I'm wearing my paint. Some people can paint and they don't get a single drop on them, and their paint plate looks full still, and all the colors are still perfect. Who are you people? But I just did it again. That's not me. Oh, and then I go to my other hand. That's not me at all. We go through a lot of wet wipes in the studio.
Ivy's little sister is called Marigold, so they are our favorite flowers. That's so sweet. I love that name.
Is it Ivy from England?
Ivy Andrew.
Oh, that's so funny because Owen Andrews here today too, and that's who I thought you were talking about earlier. Because under Jess Andrews, and maybe she's not on now. Maybe she's gonna wait.
This is under Annette Lopez Andrew.
Okay, maybe there's several.
There might be
several. Anyway, I love getting to know all you guys because you share your photos with me. And sometimes when you reach out and you're wacky, your parents reach out to me and say, oops, my kid was really wacky today. And I'm like, I loved it. It was completely fine. And there goes my kid. Where's he going? Maybe for a run? I don't know. Okay, so I'm ready for my dark color. Now, newsflash, the magic of paint. When you mix phthalo blue
it's a butterfly
and magenta together, you get a really beautiful purple. And I like it better than, I know in school teachers are always like, red and blue make purple, and it does, it makes a purple, but not as good as purple as this. So there'll be some purple actioning happening too, and it's okay. So I'm gonna go, I didn't even clean my paintbrush because I don't really have any paint there. It's very little. So I'm gonna plop in my phthalo blue. Remember, too much. So I'm just going to start hitting a clean spot because I'm not ready for my purple yet. It's just going to happen naturally. So, oh my gosh, look at that texture, Sid. Okay, so I'm looking for some spaces to be just all blue, and some are going to mix and be purple. And quite frankly, I might not be able to have a lot of purple because my pink's already dry. But I could put some purple in if I wanted to.
So these are two very different people. So Owen Andrews is actually the father, Annette Andrews is the mom, and Ivy is the child who is on her dad's tablet.
Okay, well, Jessica Andrews, and I don't know the dad's name. I know it's Mr. Andrews because he was Sydney's teacher. Sabrina, sorry. They're joining us today too because they bought an art kit, or they'll be painting later. So if you're painting later, Owen and Jess and why do I want to say Lily's their daughter? Hi.
And then Joe says, morning sweethearts from Campbell River, Vancouver Island.
Oh, that just sounds like a nice place to go.
It does.
Ta-da! So if you wanted some purple, like maybe purple's not happening, just you could mix it up. I'm kind of loving this smudgy area right there. It looks like this is in the shadows, like a little bit darker. So make sure you go around town. We're just being really brave today. We're having a lot of fun. Painting should be fun. I get that it's stressful the first time, but I hope you understand that it's just layers. Just if a painting looks difficult, it's more layers than what we do in these quick classes. So let me just show you the purple. It's pretty. I've got some pink, tiny little bit of blue. So I'm just bouncing on my Bounty paper towel, and I'm coming up with purple. Mine's a little bit dark. Okay, so there's a saying in Montana, if you don't like the weather, wait a half an hour. So we might end up with a downpour. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Because I can feel it's getting a little chilly. I don't really smell it. Montana is one of those places you can smell when the rain's coming. That whole ozone change. I'm trying to decide if I want purple.
Ivy goes, nah, he's not a painter. He's usually working 24/7. Throwing Dad under the bus.
Ivy, spill all your secrets, honey. We're going to know more about Mr. Owen than he does himself. Okay, I'm going to put a little purple in. Just a little bit. You know what? It's hard as kids when your parents are working a lot. But
Kaylin says, I thought you were in Washington. We are, but we're visiting family right now.
My mom and dad live in Montana, and we're here. It only takes like 6 or 7 hours to drive. And so we did everything just right. We wore a mask. We stopped at rest stops and then
sanitized the living crap out of our hands.
Yes. So we did it right, but we wanted to see Mom and Dad, and we like to go to the cabin at the lake. So,
which is secluded.
It's social distancing there or at home. Let's see. So it's almost to the point that I'm kind of used to it, right?
And I'm so used to wearing a mask now at work.
Yeah, you were using the mask, keeping away. One of my son's friends, they did a workout at their home and they were masked up, but he came out and he was just a nice kid, 18-year-old kid, wanted to shake my hand, and I was like, okay. But then I had to sanitize up and I hated that.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was so close. We were in San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. So I drove from here to see, my brother lives in San Diego too. And I think we talk all the time. And we drove from here and we left at 6 p.m. at night. And I think I was a lot younger then. And I drove a lot faster. I think we got there about 2 in the afternoon. I just remember we drove across the stretch of Death Valley without air conditioning. And it was at 12 o'clock or maybe 11, and it was brutal. But we were young and dumb, so dumb that of course I didn't even check to see what kind of fun stuff was going to happen along the way. So it's not that far from Seattle to Montana, but Missoula's on kind of the western side of things. After you cross the Rocky Mountains, kind of on the other side of Butte, then it gets really flat and dry, totally different. So the Rocky Mountains divides the state between kind of like the tree-ish kind of area to a flatter terrain.
She says, oy vey, that area is so hot.
Yeah.
And then Joe says, amen, Vancouver Island, it's the best island in the world. Come on up when y'all can.
Our cruise ship did stop there, and I thought it was amazing. And I think it stopped. What's the big city there? The touristy city?
Toronto?
No.
Vancouver?
Toronto's like, they don't teach geology in school anymore.
England?
Guys. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
You weren't with us.
British Columbia.
Okay, so it was, what's the one you take the Clipper to?
I don't know.
And it looks like that small English town. They made it kind of English looking in favor of Queen Elizabeth or Victoria, BC. No, is it Victoria?
I don't know.
I think it was Victoria. Oh, so cute. So cute. And my son, who's kind of picky about food, had the best burger there. He loved it. We're kind of food oriented.
They all started saying Victoria.
Everyone's like, we got this, we got
No.
this. Go this way, sorry. We got this, we got this. Okay, so if yours is dry, awesome. If it's not dry, take a second and blow dry that really quick, because we're gonna draw our stems. And then, after I painted this and it dried, I went, gosh, I really wish my stems were covered a little bit more on the bottom. So you can come back and do that. Don't you worry about it. So mine kind of stick out. They're not as nestled in and they're all snug. Okay, perfect. Okay, but mine is fairly dry. And I kind of already know, they kind of look like giant cues, but I kind of know where I want to go. So I'm going to take my filbert, so I'm going to change my paintbrush. So I already cleaned 3/4 flat. I'm done with him really for the day. So you really want to make sure he's clean and dried. And you can kind of see I'm pushing all that paint and water out. But after my taping is done, I will still clean these one more time. A lot of people ask about soap. I really don't use soap in my paintbrushes. And the reason why is even if I clean them and rinse them really, really well and soak them, then if I feel like the soap molecules attract more paint and stains, if that makes sense. It happens, it does. Okay. It's a great time to change out your water bucket. If you have one. It's a great time to grab a snack if you have one. And we're going to start building these flowers, and they take a little bit of time. And keep your hairdryer close to you too. So I'm going to use a combination of Hooker Green. Now you can use just plain old Hooker Green if you wanted to, but I wanted mine just a little bit more khaki color. So I grabbed a little bit of brown and Hooker Green, And you can mix it if you want to. I just put it all in one stroke. You can add a little white if you wanted to, a little yellow if you wanted to. And we're just gonna put in our stem. Now stem should be fatter on the bottom. And you shouldn't have to go over it more than once like I'm doing here. The reason why is paint water is not, I'm not using enough paint water. Okay, here we go. Now you can put a couple stems at the bottom or a leaf or two, whatever you want. A leaf or two, leaf it up. You know, make it yours. Problem with green sometimes is it doesn't cover super well. So the brown helps, the white helps. The yellow doesn't help, but it adds some highlights. You play with those a little bit. So you're happy, make sure you're whiter at the bottom than you are at the top. Some people like to put these little things down. You can do that too if you wanted to. And I'm going to put another one here. Some of yours will be really dainty, and some of yours will be really fat. Some will be huge, and some will be tiny. What you don't want to do is finish your flowers and they're this high. You want to kind of utilize the space and stretch them out so your composition is a little bit more pleasing than...
What time is it there? Right now it is 11:45.
It is. It's lunchtime, especially after that hike.
Oh, America, I mean. Okay, so Montana is a different time zone than Washington.
It's the mountain time here. So normally we'd start at 10 o'clock. Hey, Sean. We'd start at 10 a.m., but we started at 11 here today. But you still met us at 10 a.m. Washington time.
Because, yeah, Washington's an hour behind us.
Take those stems around town. It's just good practice to get into. The wind's picking up.
I know, it kind of got chilly. I thought it was really chilly. Hot today.
It's supposed to be 90. As soon as these clouds break, it'll be hot.
Like in the afternoon.
Yep. So I'm dipping in green, in brown, and yellow, and white. All three of them, or I guess it's four. 4 of them if you want. Why? Because it gives you this amazing, I didn't pre-mix them because I don't know if you can see, so it gives you this low range and then the higher range of the whites and such. I like it. Pretty. These ones I did more delicate leaves. You're welcome to do that too. I just felt like doing it a little bit different today. Hey, it's my painting, I can do what I want. It's your painting, do what you want. Clean out your paintbrush. We're gonna keep using this paintbrush for a minute, and then, oh God, there's so much green on here. Ta-da, ta-da. And then,
wow, it's 20 to 7 p.m. Where are you from? Oh, and Andrew, aka Ivy.
London. That's Ivy, the cat.
Oh!
We'll always remember Ivy and her cat. Okay, when you, we're gonna want a really, really nice, bristled, tiny, tiny paintbrush when we go to do the little puffy things. I don't know what to call them. I might have to switch this in. So get it wet and make sure it doesn't have a stray bristle. I think that one does. Hold on, I'm going off screen probably for a second. And you don't want them too wide. There we go. If Lisa Lane was visiting with us today, she would have one that has one hair in it, and she would wield that paintbrush. She's just so good with small stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a button. And we're gonna go around that button with a swirl of blue and then a swirl of brown. Or put some brown spikes through it. And then build from there. Do you see the yellow or the blue much in the background? Not so much, but it's just a layer that adds intensity, and so that's what we're looking for. So yellow by itself is just really sheer. Don't forget, we're gonna pretty much cover up all the yellow anyway. So I'm gonna, I keep tilting my plate so y'all can see, and that's just what happens. I'm gonna use my filbert still, or a round brush if that's what you have, and I'm gonna grab some yellow paint. Remember, mine is a bright yellow. It's more like a primary color, And right above the top of the stem, I'm going to paint myself. So I leave a little space. You can do a button or just a circle. Why didn't I put it on the stem? Well, there's some other stuff happening in that seed pod. You can even use your finger. You can dip and dot it if you want it thicker than that, but we are going to cover it up. So what size is this? It's a little bit bigger than a dime, not a dime, a pea, but not quite the size of a dime.
Ivy says, I don't want to be a cat, and I'm in Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
Heartfoshire.
No. I've been watching the show, and you guys probably see it all the time, called Walking Across Britain, maybe? Where this guy, and he said he was an actor, and he's a little older, just walks across England.
Is it Zac Efron?
No, it must be no, it's not Zac Efron. I like that documentary too. This guy's very British, but I love to walk and I love to travel, so he does it both in his job, and he gets paid for it. So he's just walking across and tiny giving you a documentary, and he'll do like, 6 to 10 miles a day, and I think it's called Walking Across Great Britain, because it's more than just England. He's gone to Wales too, and hopefully Scotland. I get sidetracked. Okay, now I'm going to switch to my baby round paintbrush. So I cleaned my filbert, because remember guys, you're like, oh, I'm just going to put it down, but if you're in San Diego, if you put it down for just a minute, your bristle's going to be ruined, and then you got to do that great soak in the Murphy's Oil soap. Okay, oh, which one do I want to use? Okay, I'm going to use this one. Got to get it wet, got to dry it off. Long squeezy strokes. Don't do circles, because you're training your hairs to be like. Okay, I am going to go into my dark blue, just trying to use the colors I have. If you had a different color you wanted to use, go ahead. And all I'm going to do is just kind of take and make my yellow kind of like the center of a donut. You can, you can spiral it if you want. Whatever you want. Just make yourself a donut around the yellow. So we're just building the inside of our puff flower. And it's a pain in the rear end, but it's well worth it. Normally things that are a pain are a little bit harder to do. So making kind of tires, if you want. Call them a tire. And we're just going to start making our tires spiky. So all I'm doing with my tiny paintbrush is I dip in the dark brown, and I'm going to go around them with long and short strokes. Now I start inside the blue, and if it kind of looks like an eyelash. If it pulls some of the blue up, even better. So I'm just gonna put a zillion. And after I go all the way around, I might even go back and put more. So long and short. So I kind of alternate. On this one, they're quite long. And this one I just felt like I don't have as much room between them as what I felt.
I think donuts are delicious.
Right? Well, you're obviously not over 40.
Creamy,
and you obviously are still young and in your
donuts.
Little britches, and you have your thyroid. But those of us that are older, donuts are just a memory. Though for the first time in a long time, I had a Snicker bar on my ride over last night. And it wasn't because I was hangry. It was just...
You're not you when you're hungry.
I'm not me when I'm hungry, guys. No, it wasn't because of that. I wanted to stay up. I wanted a little kick, but I didn't want caffeine. And I was like, it's been a really, 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 really long time since I had a Snicker bar. So I bought a king size. I didn't eat it all. I shared it with my son. Because if you had a choice of ordinary or king size,
it's like super size me.
right? Which one would you do? Okay. Doing good. I'm going to do that whole spiky method to my other one. Make yours as delicate as you want, or as, like bold, because we all have different ways we do stuff. You can even come back in here and put another layer if you want. I'm going to start working on my other one. And with my placement today, I wasn't very intelligent. So I didn't leave enough room. So mine are going to be just a little bit smaller, a little daintier, and it's okay. Lesson learned. It's mainly because I'm painting off to the side and not straight on. You don't have that excuse, my friends. And you guys are incredibly talented. Oh my gosh. One lady, she might be watching, hey, sent me a picture of this amazing goat, said it was like her first time, and what did she do wrong? And I was like, nailed it. Remember, I feel like I've succeeded as your teacher. If yours doesn't look just like mine, if yours has your little flair to it, I'm happy. Ta-da. Now, because we're gonna probably be up at the cabin through the week, I didn't schedule one for next Friday because internet connection's crazy there. It's not good. We have to go into town for the kids to do. My one boy has some summer school so he can graduate college before he finishes high school, or at the same time he finishes high school. So he had to take an extra class. So we'll have to go into town for that. Now, I did it. They look amazing. I go back through and add a little bit of blue. Why? I like it. I like it, like it, like it. Now you can do it later. You can add a little bit of blue later, but I just do a little bit right now. Just a little, not a ton, like I skip. I just put them in so we have another layer. Yep. So some of this stuff might blow off. I might have to have Sydney kind of catch it if it does.
I could be your runner.
She'll be my runner.
It is cold.
It's chilly. It's because we sweated. Well, actually, I took a shower, but I can smell you. Joking. Okay. Awesome. If you want, while we're waiting for that to dry, you can come back and add a little bit more highlighting to your leaf and your stem. Remember, the more shades you have in it, kind of the more natural it looks. You don't want to mix it and have one color, kids. It's more important that you double load, meaning pick up your green and pick up your brown and pick up your white without mixing them. Just pick, and then brush it on there. And it'll just mix right on your canvas. I kind of like that. So, but just giving that green a little bit more coat. One more coat. Makes it look amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm going to take a second and wipe off some of my chalk so it's not distracting to you guys. Ta-da! How are we doing on time? 10:55. We're doing good. The next step takes a little while. I would think it's probably going to take some of you 10 minutes or so to do it, and it is best if your donut and tire section are completely dry. So if you finished your fleshy eyeballs and you finish putting all the green you want in your stem, take just a minute and blow dry it so you're not smearing your paint. You're being very careful today because you want this delicate flower. All right, so I'm gonna move closer for this. If you need fresh white, grab it. You saw I didn't use very much, but I try to take my white from one section so I have all of this back here that's fresh. Don't waste your paint, guys. It's kind of hard to find good stuff right now. Go put a jacket on real quick. These guys will wait for you. Okay, so I loaded my paintbrush and we're gonna paint what I call chicken feet all the way around the outside of the wish berry, the wish flower. So what's a chicken foot? So I make a V and I put a line in the middle And maybe I'll put one on the side so it kind of looks like a chicken foot. Now, I don't know how many fingers a chicken has, but I know that chicken fingers are delicious.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna paint a V. Can you see this in the?
Yeah.
Okay. Paint a V, and I'm gonna put a line in the center, and I may or may not make it extra, so I put a couple extra on there. It just depends how I'm feeling when I get to that spot. What not to do? Don't grip your paintbrush hard. Don't grip your paintbrush down here. Okay, you should be back, and at any time I should be able to slide this paintbrush right out of your hand. Okay, you don't want to be really, really hard because then you're going to press hard. You want to kind of be dainty and airy about this. Watch if I press really hard. The chicken foot. Okay, that's quite a bit of difference. So I could even go more delicate than that. So we're kind of looking for them to be airy and delicate. So if you need to practice a few, go for it. What?
Ivy says, you got a giant backyard, or is that the park? LOL.
Oh, this is my mom and dad's property here. So, no, it's not a park. And this is the front yard and the back, you know, it's a couple acres. It's a little different over here. They've had it for 20 years. So, they were one of the first people up on the hill. So these trees are in the way, but you can see all down the valley, which is Missoula. And then up here, the elk come in. Okay. So it's a little bit different here. I noticed in England, your houses were like right on top of each other, at least in London, maybe not out in the Shires, which you're in one of the Shires.
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire. I can't even say it. I can say Worcestershire. Worcestershire? Worcestershire. Okay. So if you need to water down your white, go ahead. So I might have to water down my white. So my white's going to be a little tinged with green because my water is green, and I'm okay with that. Don't let your paint get thick there like that, guys, because it'll give you a really thick line. So clean your paintbrush off if you need to. So if you need to water down your paint, bring a little paint to the side of your plate. Bring a little water, just a dab. You can always add more. Always. Okay. So we're going to go all the way around one and all the way around another. So we're going to leave this space. And so if each one of them were like a softball size, so I'm going to come out here, do my V, put a line through it. And I don't want them all the same distance away. They're going to be really close. They're going to make kind of a softball shape. You can always add another layer too to make them a little fatter. So this process takes a little while. Don't press hard. Leave a space in between. If you need to fill in, go ahead. Keep it up with the paint. If you had professional fluid acrylics here, the white fluid acrylic would be amazing because it's a little bit heavier with pigment. So you're just going to go around it. And then after we do it, we're going to see where are we off. So we're going to go all the way around it. If you needed to draw yourself a chalk line so you're kind of keeping the proper distance from the eye. Like I think I'm kind of shifting down.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. This is paint. I know what to do. Not too thick, guys. Nice and delicate. And they shouldn't all look the same. So, how are we doing? Woo! God made this dandelion special. Gosh, guys, it's just art. Love it. If you need to put more in, put more in. We're gonna put another row right underneath that. So I went all the way around, and I kind of adjusted my outside edge. And I can already tell this one's gonna be behind that one. This is gonna look really cool. I'm gonna have to figure it out. It's problem solving for today. You know, even if you don't get a high school education, if you're a great problem solver, you're gonna go well. You're gonna go far. Okay, so now I have this space between my hairy eyeball and my outer rim. And so I'm going to kind of find a happy medium, and I'm going to place some chicken feet in there.
Wow.
I'm going to start filling it in. And maybe you can get 3 chicken feet in before you have to reload your paintbrush. Guys, don't rush this step. Maybe your sticker bar is kicking in and you just want to finish. Don't rush this step. Okay, maybe you can only get 2 because you like them really bright. I don't know. You don't want them very see-through-y though. Maybe you want to come back later and put a second coat over top of them so they really, really show. You're in charge. It's your work. I want you to be happy. Okay, so I have my chicken feet. What's the time? I may be able to do this one. Maybe I'll just show you what to do on this one. All right. Can you hear? Can you guys hear the rooster?
Gone.
I think he's late. It's lunchtime. All right. Okay, here we go. We are going to now connect each chicken foot with kind of the center. Mine's a little bit wet. So I'm going to just connect it, connect them. Now up to you. Maybe you want to work your way around. Maybe you want to do the outside layer and then the inside layer. That's completely up to you. And that's exactly what I did.
Shannon says, I love your name for steps. Chicken feet, hairy eyes, LOL. And then Cherie says, yes, we can hear the cock-a-doodle-doos.
Sweet. We were worried that it'd be too hot. Now my mom is a little particular about the inside of her house, and I don't blame her. I paint on the inside of my house, so she would like us to paint outside, which I'm completely fine. But I didn't want to do it in the garage because it's a garage. So that's why we're outside. If you're like, why are you outside?
You know what's weird? Is the thing says that it feels like it's 81 degrees outside. No, it feels like it's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah, it did get chilly.
Absolutely cold.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we woke up so early to hike. It's supposed to be 90 today or 88 today.
Yeah, it's supposed to be up to
Hiking in
90.
dry heat, not good. So I was like, well, if we don't go now, before God wakes up, is basically what we did.
That's a little dramatic.
Okay, it's a little dramatic. Then it's going to be miserable later. Whoops. Okay, so that one's a little bit bold. There's some things I can do to fix it. Yes, it still doesn't look like a puff flower, but it's layers and we're getting there. Okay, when you're ready, you can move on to this puppy, the next puppy. I don't know how many you did. I'm gonna start, because we have a little bit of time, I'm gonna start working my way around. And remember, this flower on my art is behind the big one, so I don't have to do the petals there. Are we gonna call them petals?
Yeah.
The chicken feet. I don't have to put the chicken feet there. Yeah, we're kind of goofy when it comes to names and stuff. We're kind of goofy for anything, I think, actually. We're very irreverent, actually. Probably. Okay. So I'm just going to fill in. I feel like I need a little bit of love. So don't worry about this hot mess here. Okay. We're going to fix it. We're going to put a bigger hot mess on it so it'll distract you from the hot mess it is now. That's all a distraction is. A bigger hot mess. So you can go over each brush stroke a second time if your paint, so paints, we talk about it, come in all different qualities. Walmart has one brand that has, the white has terrible coverage. It's more like Vaseline than it is, I don't know, it has terrible coverage. So I don't know I can't remember which one it was. I just was very upset. The one day I needed it to cover and it didn't, just because our paint didn't come in, and so I needed some paint, so that's where I went to. And then there's the professional grade, golden fluid acrylics, and I did grab the white, but then I forgot it with the easels, probably with the easels. And then the pigment is just so much better, and that's pretty much the reasoning for different prices in paints is the intensity of the pigment, you know, because more intense pigment costs more. The binders too, the glue binders, but really it's the pigment. It isn't cheap. And remember, before we could go down to the store and buy our Dick Blick paint, you had your little minion. Hopefully you're rich if you're painting. You had your little minion in the back, kind of mixing everything.
Sharice's apple barrel? What does that mean?
She's just trying to make me hungry. Sharice, stop trying to make me hungry. Apple Barrel Restaurant. Okay. So, and then you're going to connect each one of those chicken feet, sorry, with kind of the inside of that tire. Now, even though I don't have any chicken feet on this side, I still have to put the lines, because on the back side of this puff flower, they're there. Okay, we just can't see them. It's a hot mess, and I know this is where everything gets really quiet.
Oh,
and
it's a paint brand.
oh, is it Apple Barrel? Okay. Oh, isn't there an Apple Barrel? Oh, Crackle Barrel Restaurant. Okay, yeah, it's Apple Barrel. It must be. Now, don't get me wrong. Walmart has some paints that are just fine, but this particular paint, you know, I don't know what I'd use it for. But if that's all you can get, that's all you can get, and we're just happy you're here doing art.
Oh, it's getting sunny over there.
But once you figure out that your paint is meant to be thinned down a bit, then you can understand paying $4 for a tube if it's not on sale. If you're watering it down, it goes a little further. And once you figure out how not to have as much waste, you can see, you know, there's a lot of paint I didn't use. Once you figure out how to cut down on your waste and how to cut down on your kids' waste, it's kind of worth it to spend just a little bit more. But it's totally within your budget what you can do. And sometimes I just do it on the paints colors that are really important to me, like white and black. Don't forget, when you're buying your own paints, you're going to use twice as much white, maybe even 3 times as much white as any other color. And then black, you're going to use at least twice. So double down. Okay, so now we're going to kind of make the puff flowers a little bit prettier, a little daintier. So we're going to take, and you can use the back side of your paintbrush and dip and dot if you want, but I wanted mine a little bit daintier, so I'm just going to dip and dot on each of the chicken feet, a little dot near the end. I left a little space. This helps fill in the, I had a raindrop, helps fill in the space. I didn't do it on the ends. I left a little tiny space on most of them. It's because we left Seattle, which yesterday was the prettiest day, to come here. So we brought the rain, of course.
It's not even supposed to be raining. It's not on the forecast at all.
Well, that's Montana. They never get the forecast right, because all it takes is one little, you know, weather pattern to change. So Missoula is the middle. Here we go. Here I go. The middle of 5 valleys. And so what happens is convergence happens, and the warm air from the 2 higher valleys cools and drops. And so right here in the center, we get funky weather. Like in the winter, we'll have fog so thick that it doesn't move out because the air is cold and it's not moving through the valleys. So it's crazy. And when you have the mountains this close, what do? The sun will be out later. If you like your dots very heavy, try not to do them all with one dip, okay? Maybe do all 3 or 4 on a chicken foot and then get more. So this is where things really slow down. I know a lot of you are like, that painting looks super easy, and it's not difficult. It just has a few more layers than maybe you thought it had. But totally doable layers. My job as your teacher is to break it down into manageable sections, and I am 100% confident that on most of our paintings, you know, somebody who's 4 years old can be pretty successful as somebody that's, you know, 54 years old. And sometimes even more successful. Now, okay, so 4 and 5 is hard. People ask me all the time. You have to know your kid. 5 specifically, at the studio, we start 6 years old and up on their own unless they have special permission. What do I mean by special permission? Not that I like the kid more, but so kids that have been in like all day preschool, or are used to waiting a little bit longer, waiting their turn, following a multi-step direction a couple different times without getting frustrated. Because I don't want my students to leave the studio frustrated. We want them feeling successful, feeling good, feeling some pride in what they do. And that's impossible to do if, is that like a screaming chicken?
Maybe it's a chicken or a child.
Oh, maybe it's a kid. Okay, maybe it's a kid. I was like, wow, they have screaming chickens here. Anyway,
Maybe it's a coyote or a fox or something.
If it's hard on your kid, if they're super, normally it's the firstborn or your last kid, and there's a huge gap in ages, or yeah, like ages with the kids in your family. They call it the second firstborn. They tend to be really, really hard on themselves and their abilities and what they expect. So then we might start them a little bit later. But when we have anybody paints classes, you could come with your child who is 4 or 5 and wants to try it, you know, and you could paint together, or you could let them have their own painting or canvas to do it. Okay, so basically I went through that. You might come back later and add some more love on some of those if you feel like they're too light. Okay, let's hot mess the inside. So I'm gonna come in now. Honestly, I did a lot of the hot mess with, hi Mom, can you start your car? Oh, okay. Mama's
She's
here.
watching.
Oh, okay, I thought she was gonna say, her car's right there. I thought she was gonna say she had to go somewhere. I did a lot of the hot mess with my 3D puffy paints. And so I think they're $20 with your Michaels coupon. You can probably get them closer to 10, or you just need a couple of these bottles. And I love them for texture and just to stand out a little bit more. Plus they're super shiny, so the fact that they're puffier and shinier, your eye likes to look at that. It gives you a place to settle. So if I didn't have that there, I maybe wouldn't want to hang out as much inside there. But what we're gonna do is take a little bit of blue on our paintbrush, and we're gonna come in here and just put some blue dots. I don't go too far out on the ends because those wispies don't need a lot. Okay.
Shannon says, you do break it down exceptionally well, making it easy to learn.
Oh, thank you. It's, you know, it's been eight years.
You have 14 minutes.
And then 14 years was 8 at the studio, and then I did teach in the school districts. Yeah.
Art just
Yeah, that counts. That counts. That's
well, maybe not 14. Maybe like
you were 10, and no, yeah, so 11.
okay.
11. That's closer. Don't age me, girl.
Okay.
Don't age me.
I was exaggerating a little bit. Sorry.
Yep. Don't age me. Okay. So if you don't have paint, I'm sorry, if you don't have puffy paint and you want to do the hot mess with just plain paint, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna pick up some white and you're just gonna kind of pop it around hot mess style. So also looks great if you picked up more than one color at a time. If you double loaded, just gonna kind of explode in there so that you can't see the tire. the yellow with the blue around it. We don't want to see all of it. It's okay if it peeks through a little bit, but we don't want to see full tire. So I'm going to show you again on this one. Just come in with quite a bunch of white on my paintbrush, and I'm just going to hot mess it. I don't want to see too much of my tire. If you're like, that white's a little bit undramatic and I don't have puffy paints, what could I do? Well, you could come in with some more yellow, or even some more blue, and just get in there and make yourself happy. But I used the puffy paint, so I squeezed in kind of a metallic blue, and then the yellow, and then a shimmery white. So here's the metallic blue. And I really liked it. It was a metallic blue, so it had a layer of shimmer to it that I really loved. I really feel like I'd come back here and probably put one more coat on these chicken feet. They're not very strong. So how do I get the puff flowers that are floating off in space? Here an ambulance. All I'm gonna do is draw myself, or paint myself, sorry, some chicken feet. And it's important that they're not all in a row like soldiers. They're turned a few different ways. So I'm gonna do it up here where it's a little darker so you can see, and I'll do one or two. So I'm gonna just do some chicken feet, and then I put it on a stick or a stem, and at the bottom I put a frown on it. So those aren't done yet. Okay, I want to put the dots. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then you need the seed. So I'd probably do all 5, and I have 4 on the top and 1 here at the bottom, and you can barely see it. What you do see is the seed, and so that makes you kind of stop, like, there's brown and yellow right there. What's connected to it? So it does give you something to look at. But I would do all 5 of them, maybe blow dry, and then maybe come back. But I dip in yellow, a tiny little bit of brown, and right where the chicken feet come together, I put a little dot. And if it's too dark, take some of it off. Mine's a little dark. And then at the bottom where this seed would attach to the hot mess, I just kind of go over. See, this is too dark up here. I just go over that just a little bit so the white's still showing. If you feel like it's too dark, once it's dry, you're gonna come in with yellow and kind of lighten it up again. So I want to show you on here. Kind of looks like a crown floating out in space. Okay, so I want to show you, there's hardly any color on my paintbrush, so I probably went a little bit too dark there. And I kept them really tiny and fragile, whereas this one looks like I am going to land on the queen's head right now, or the king. I wonder if the mom locked her out because she was being naughty. I remember I did that once. We talked about it last night. Okay, clean your paintbrush really well. If you're gonna do one at a time, you really should probably do all 5. You know why I did 5. Do 100 if you want. I'll be eating lunch when you finish, but
Oh my gosh.
What's
6 ways to eat watermelon. One of them put chocolate and sea salt on it.
who does?
On watermelon.
What? Chocolate? What kind of chocolate?
Any kind you want. That just sounds delicious.
Okay, well, I like watermelon.
And I like chocolate.
You know what? Watermelon's one of those fruits. I don't know that I'd ever buy it uncut. Why? Because you buy this $10 watermelon, it's humongous, you take it home, you cut it into it, and it's like, so I always kind of, that's one of the ones I buy, and it's already been produced and cut up. So, okay, so we got a couple of those. We got the hot messes. Maybe you used your puffy paint. I don't know what you decided. So remember I said that I felt like the bottom needed a little love. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in with my, how much time we got? 9 minutes, I think I'm fine. I'm gonna come in with my blue, maybe a little pink too. Bounce off the extra, and you can kind of blend those in a little bit if you wanted to. So they're not so, they should be nestled, if you will, into the field of flowers, and they shouldn't just be like on top of the field of flowers, which I feel is kind of like they are there. But, you know, at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do. Okay, here we go. So if you don't have puffy paints, what you can do is use other colors or mix your other colors. So if you bought a paint kit from me, you already had your yellows and blues and pink and green. So I give you red, because with red you can mix all the other colors you want. And so you're looking for heavier paints. So I come in with the puffy paints. I don't know how many of you read what you're supposed to buy every week, but I just squeezed oranges and purples and reds, and really the red's more like a cadmium red, so it's kind of like an orangey red, and blues in here all over, so that, would you see who's calling me right now?
It's just saying someone is at your front door.
Oh, all over. And I also, before I did that, is I put in more grass. So I'm going to blow dry this super fast, and I'm pretty much done. I'm going to put in some more grass real quick. I did it with the puffy paints, but since I don't know if you guys have puffy paints, she's having a really bad day. I'm just going to come in and kind of fill in with some wavy grasses. Now that we know it's not a screaming chicken, it's a screaming child. Do you want to go see if she needs help? She doesn't have that scream of terror.
No,
just like
there's like a mountain lion or something by her.
Yeah, just a temper tantrum. And yes, we do get mountain lions here.
We are in that area, like.
Yeah. More like foxes, yeah. But she doesn't sound scared. More like, do what I say, Mama. Mama's needs to take a shower without you screaming in her face. Ta-da! Just kind of filling in. I use my baby round paintbrush. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I double loaded. So I dipped in green, I dipped in yellow, I dipped in white. Remember, same term applies even if you dip in more than two. And then I just come in and I squeeze bigger blobs. Why? Because we have the smaller blobs right now from the texture. So these are the flowers that are further away. Well, that's going to stress Katie out. Katie is my mom's dog. So the blobs are the bigger flowers, the flowers that are up close. And then when all my blobs were still wet, I use, hello. All I did was place these gems in my puffy paints, and then that wasn't enough. No, I needed more. Hi, Kate, sweet dog. Then I used my confetti type. Look at
She's
this
literally
confetti type. Yes, obviously we have the whole barnyard here today.
Oh,
glitter.
good. You can't see it though in the camera.
Oh, woo, shoo. When you gotta go, you gotta go. On that, and they dried in place. So I didn't worry about controlling the puffy paint too much. If it kind of came out in a little smear, I kind of, use the top of the puffy paint to kind of brush it around a little bit. But I always did test the puffy paint on a piece of plate first. So these are good for so many things. We're gonna be teaching you painting and stenciling on masks soon. Why? Because why not, right? What else are we doing? So keep a toothpick handy, because, oh, I love that color, because sometimes they just get all clogged up. So make sure, kids, you're not, if your mom purchased you puffy paint, don't drag it. Keep above just a little bit. And I just kind of made these ice cream cone shapes. I'm already seeing it. I'm loving it. So if you don't have the puffy paint, it's okay. Don't have that temper tantrum. Your mom and dad do what they can for you. And sometimes it's just not written in the budget that you're going to get puffy paints today. Ask for your birthday, because it's a great gift. And it doesn't cost, a ton. just start filling in. You do wiggles or whatever feels good. Use as much as you want. And if you don't have puffy paint, just go back to your filbert. Okay, let me get some red paint really quick. Whoop. You make yourself some orange. I happen to have some orange, so I'm just going to cheat. And other colors that you might want, just knock them out of the ballpark. Just kind of come in here and put a thick dab. Q-tips work good. You can use the top of your finger, your nose picking finger if you wanted to. Just filling in, making yourself super happy with what your garden looks like. So guys, what should we paint next week? Someone wanted to paint our lantern in the cherry blossoms.
Oh, pretty.
The one we did for speed dating night.
We won't be with each other.
Oh, well, I'm not doing it next week. Sorry guys, not gonna do it next week. But if I had some time to download some short video clips, when I get into town, I could share those. I'm just not cool enough to know how to do a lot of that stuff. So let's see, real quick, let's go over some stuff. You're gonna do your chicken feet blowing away. You're gonna put in your flowers. Remember, you can download this picture so you know what it looks like. Gems if you got them, sequins if you have them. Buttons would be really, really cool, guys. Different color buttons. I would love that. You can even do like pieces of paper. Whatever you have to make it a mixed medium. Maybe you don't care for any of that stuff and you're just purely want paint. That's okay too. Know yourself. Please share these photos with me so I can share them online or share them with your friends so we can have more people joining us. If you haven't liked and followed us, go ahead and do that so that you get when we're doing these again. And I just hope you have, a great week. And you already know how to wash your hands. I'm going to tell you how to do that. Everyone says wash your hands.
Everyone stay healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy. Try not to be too bored. If you are, this is probably almost 30 of these tapes now. There's probably at least over 25. Help yourself. There's no cost. Some people want to donate. That's fine. We have a button on our website. So if you wanted to share these, you can. I know people said it's really hard to attach them to the event, and that's fine. What you could do is just message me them and I'll share them, or my cell phone 206-715-4254. I can do that. My email is cleopatra@comcast.net and my website is cleopatraarts.com. I think I'm pretty close. I mean, it's like how often you call yourself. I don't know. Anyway, we've had a really good time with you today. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and look for some of those videos we're going to put out. Bye! Oh my God, a bug's attacking you.
Is it off me? Is it off me?
It's a bug, Sid.
It's off me.
Sydney says bye too. Yeah, it's climbing out of your ear.